Hey love, welcome back to Hearth and Moon, a Witchy Momcast. I'm your host, Luna Mystic, and today's episode is something truly special. I'm joined by Amber, a spiritual advisor, intuitive coach, and the founder of Divine Eye. Amber's work is all about helping people come to their intuition, reconnect to trust, and move through life with aligned clarity. This episode is for every witchy mama who's felt disconnected from her inner knowing, who's been craving stillness, sovereignty, and that soft voice within saying, "This is the way." We'll explore what it really means to trust your path, how to strengthen your intuition in motherhood, and then Amber will guide us through a chakra activation meditation to realign and reawaken your inner wisdom. So take a deep breath, light a candle, and settle in. Welcome in, Amber.
Hi, I'm so excited for today.
I'd love for you to begin by sharing your journey. How did you find your path as a spiritual guide and intuitive healer?
So, for me, this was definitely always part of my path. Okay, first of all, I was very intuitive, and I didn't realize at the time when I was a kid that I was doing a lot of spiritual practices. However, as I grew older, it was mostly like my dreams that gave me a lot of insight, and I would get a lot of downloads. But I worked in sales and I was just living normal life. And that was kind of like my backside of like trying to heal and focus on that. Now, when I had my most intense spiritual awakening, that was after my son was born, and I was in a really turbulent relationship. But he would travel and I was at home with him or with my son all the time, like 3 to 4 weeks. It would just be me and him. Yeah, it was intense, very strong isolation in that time period. But one of the benefits of that was I was very much analyzing myself, very much analyzing like any negative thought behavior I had, all of the things that I've experienced in my life. And I feel like for that, that jump started what would become a much more intense spiritual journey. And then after that separation, I tried to get back into sales because I did take a year off to take care of my son. And then after that, I tried to jump back into sales and I could hear spirit at this point, and they kept saying, we're not going to make you successful in this because this is not what we want you to be doing. And I was just like hitting every wall trying to get back into sales. And eventually I was like, well, spirit, like if I'm working, I'm working for free right now. So I need to do something different. And they said, well, we've told you what we want you to do. And it, like, they gave me a flashback all the way like 8 months prior that I was talking about, like, I could run a spiritual business. Like I could do that. I could advise people. And I had just never did it. And they were like, okay, well, now's time. And I was like, what am I going to do? I have like 3 weeks before my bills are due. And they're like, quit your job today and go do it. And so I did it. And it paid off. Okay. So trusting spirit does guide you, taking those leaps of faith. But my spiritual gifts really just grew because I took the time to work on my own trauma. And that's how Divine Eye kind of actually started.
That actually leads into the next question: is what does Divine Eye mean to you, and how did that name come into being?
So, Divine Eye, first of all, the name, honestly, I woke up from a dream and that's how I got it. They said, this is what we're going to call it. But I was like, Spirit, you better give me every step of the way. After that separation, I was like, listen, I got bills, Spirit. We got to get something going. Okay. You want me to do this? You need to tell me how to do this. And I, at first, was like, okay, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to focus on just being successful. And like, great, I have like a flexible job for my son and things like that. But really quickly after that, I realized the influence of my own journey and my own connection with spirit was actually improving other people's journey with their spiritual team, as well as like them tapping into their gifts. And then I took on someone to start apprenticing, and I saw them blossom into an amazing advisor who they are a complete advisor now too. And it was just like a complete shift of perspective. Like before, it was very much like, oh, well, this is like a cool career and this is like stuff I do. now for me, it's like, oh my God, I have this impact on humanity that I'm doing through connecting to each individual. And it's a really amazing experience. So that's pretty much what it is for me. I feel like it's me elevating the collective consciousness as much as I can.
That's amazing. You've guided a lot of women through major life shifts, it sounds. What do you
Mhm.
see most often holding people back from trusting themselves?
Uh, Fear of rejection. So when I connect with many women, actually, mostly like 85% of my clients are women. Uh, what I've seen is whenever someone talks like a blockage, that's going to be a outdated way of thinking, and a lot of times it stems from outside sources, and I've seen that even in my own self. But with that, it sometimes triggers people to have this doubt in themselves all the time. And so when they're moving forward, even in their spiritual growth, but even in like going to do their dream career or getting into a relationship that's healthy, there's this hesitation that they may actually receive it, and this fear that it's going to get swept out underneath them right away. And that tends to be the biggest thing that I've seen, that holds people back from really trusting in their spiritual team as well as like their own self. So definitely something that spirit tries to work on with us pretty heavily.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, a lot of us, in my opinion, even from a content creation point of view, it's the fear of rejection is a very
Yeah, well, me
common.
too. Yeah, I'm also a mom, so I love to help guide other mothers into their spiritual journey because it's so important not only for ourselves, our own sanity, especially as a mom of a toddler right now, but as well as becoming our best version of ourselves and honoring ourselves, especially through motherhood as well, because it's such a powerful spiritual journey as well. I'm just very excited.
I'm excited to have you here today. Let's talk about intuition. How can someone begin to strengthen that connection, especially in the middle of motherhood, stress, everyday life?
So, one thing with your intuition is, first of all, it's innately human. Your intuition goes all the way to like, oh, I should go to this store to go get groceries and all of those little things in between. Now, to build it, first of all, you're going to really want to make sure that you're getting clearer. Now, a lot of people, when they think of like meditation, they think, okay, I'm going to sit there for 30 minutes and 50 minutes and a long extended time. And as a mom, you don't really have that. So, one thing I advise people is like give it like 3 to 5 minutes. Just give yourself like 3 minutes, especially when you first wake up, because it's going to give you an intention for the day. But it's going to be able for you to ground and connect your energy further, allowing more spiritual information to flow through you, then increasing that intuition, making it a little bit clearer. The other thing is there's a couple different tools that you can do. So like if you look at here, so say if like is my name Tara? No. Is my name Amber? And you can go as hard as you want and it's gonna stay. So is my favorite color red? Is my favorite color yellow? It works in that sense. So if you're trying to gauge if your intuition, I highly recommend doing some little tools to see, asking yourself certain questions, as well as you can close your eyes and you'll notice your body will naturally flow forward if it's a yes, if it's your intuition, and backwards if it's a no. So very, very many different exercises, but there's little things that you can do to start understanding, and through that trust, it'll grow. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I appreciate those tips, and I'm sure some of our moms will too. I wouldn't have thought it would have been as simple as this.
I
Uh,
know everyone kind of doesn't think about the little things, but I think I read that so many years ago, and then Spirit recently called it back to me to while I was advising a client, and so I've been teaching that more recently a lot more.
that's really cool, and it's a helpful tip to have.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite grounding tools or daily practices for staying connected to that voice that you're talking about, your intuition and the spirit?
Yeah, totally. So one thing is, so a lot of people hear like grounding. Okay, so grounding is really just an exercise to connect to self, making that very connected to the Earth's frequency. So tips like connecting to your child self. So especially for us moms there, playing with their kids and being involved and being present is so grounding for us. It's so good for our energy. But other things like going outside, being barefoot near the earth, or meditation through there, activating chakras is obviously a really important one too, because grounding is absorbing that earth's energy. But if you ever see like people who are having a lot of mental health issues, they'll say like, oh, walk barefoot on grass. That's because you're absorbing that energy. And so it's so important for us to be doing that. So that, and probably my favorite tools, I probably, other than like earth and incense and cleansing things like that, probably tarot, because that's just what I felt most guided to, or flame breathing through candle magic. So
I like that. One of the most powerful ways you help people reconnect to their own energy is through chakra activation. Would you lead us through a short guided practice?
yeah. So I wish I had like some sound bowls or something going on in the background, but essentially what we're going to do, just to kind of give you steps and then we'll walk it through, is first we're going to get into a vortex breath, which essentially is 13 seconds in a breath, 13 seconds out, then going all the way down to 1. That helps rest your mind so you're much more clear.
Okay.
Then you're going to envision roots, and I know this kind of sounds woo-woo-y and kind of silly, but you're going to envision roots going from the base of your spine as far down into the earth as you can. If you're up like on a high building, it doesn't really matter. You can do it from anywhere. And you're going to envision with each breath in that like energy or light, whatever you picture it as, going up those roots a little bit closer to the base of your spine. From there, you're going to move them through different areas in your body, and so we'll guide that. It's not a super hard process. It's just I feel like this is the most effective way I've found to activate chakras. So we'll break it down into each little step. It's not super hard. It's fairly easy, and you might just need to take a couple seconds to do it, but it definitely helps.
Okay.
So resting your eyes. If you are crossing legs, I highly recommend uncrossing them just because that sometimes restricts some of the energy. If you like to sit in crisscross applesauce, please feel free to do that. And so you're going to start taking those vortex breaths in 13 seconds, out 13 seconds, kind of getting that rhythm. As soon as you start to feel like you're in a deep meditative state, let me know.
Okay.
So now you're going to start envisioning roots extending from the base of your spine all the way deep into the earth. Doesn't matter if you're on the second floor or 30th floor, just trying to get it all the way down to wherever the earth is for you. As soon as you feel like those roots are down into the earth, let me know. And if you start to feel like those roots are a little hard to envision, just try to envision essentially them as deep as you can. If you can't get them super deep, that's okay. Just try to make sure those roots are extended, kind of like a plant.
Okay. I can see you.
Okay, so with each breath in, envision either light, energy, electricity, whatever it looks like for you, going each through, getting closer to the base of your spine. And as soon as you feel like it's hitting the base of your spine, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, from the base of your spine, which is your root chakra, we're going to move that energy to 3 inches below the belly button. That'll be our sacral space. As soon as you feel like your energy has moved over there, it might feel tingly, it might feel warmth, it might feel a little pressure like. Whatever it feels like for you, as soon as you feel like that, let me know.
Okay.
Now from there, you're going to move it up 3 inches above the belly button. This is going to be your solar plexus. As soon as you feel it, let me know. Kind of in between your diaphragm.
Okay.
From there, you're going to move it up to your heart space. This is going to be your heart chakra. It'll be kind of in the center of your chest. As soon as you feel it, let me know.
Okay.
All right, up from our heart chakra to our throat. Some people say they feel it in the base of their throat. Some people say they feel it in the center. Whatever it feels like for you, let me know when you do.
Okay.
All right, now to our third eye. So it is right above the brows, in between, above the bridge of the nose. So right about here for anyone who's watching and looking for it. And as soon as you start to feel that, either sensation of pressure, warmth, tingling, let me know.
Okay.
And then last chakra is going to be our crown chakra. For us moms out there, you might know it. It's kind of similar space to where a soft spot on a baby is, or where you might wear a tiara. So moving that energy from your third eye up to your crown. And as soon as you start to feel it, let me know. And try to envision all the rest of the energy from everywhere else flowing up into your crown.
Okay.
Congratulations, you just activated all your chakras and grounded. Isn't that interesting?
Wow. Yeah, that was definitely interesting.
How did you feel in your body?
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, for me, especially my sacral, it feels like I have to go to the bathroom. So I understand.
I felt the biggest pressure with the crown. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could actually. It was when you mentioned the tiara. I did pageants as a kid. I actually felt like the weight of a tiara sitting on my head. Honestly,
Yeah. Well, and so
and
that's deep energy. So like our crown is where spirit connects to us. We get downloads, all of those things. So very, very cool.
then right around the heart chakra when you're doing that one, I kept. It may be my headphones because I have them on so I can hear you, but it was like a TV static. When people watch this back, they'll see me. I'm going like
Oh
trying to make
wow.
sure. Am I hearing something? Is it my headphone? I'm hearing her, but it followed all the way the rest of the way up like this weird TV
Oh.
static.
Well, and so for some people, it's spirit's going to communicate in different ways. That probably, I would say, don't doubt it. It's from spirit, okay? Because if you were the only one that heard that, I definitely didn't. But I wouldn't doubt that. What I will say is, a lot of times, if you are like still have some blockages, okay, kind of think of like a pipe, and you have like certain things still in the pipeline for those areas, like your spiritual team will definitely announce it whenever you're doing that, because essentially what you're doing is refreshing the pipes with new energy. That's why we activate our chakras, is to refresh that with Earth's energy, and it'll help balance you out a lot more and enhance your spiritual practice because it's refreshing you with energy. So if you have like any
Okay.
resistance, that could definitely be an indication of that.
Okay, that's definitely interesting. I'll have to make notes of that to look into
Yeah.
some more. All right, I'm going to have a lightning round of questions.
Okay.
Keep it short, sweet, simple. I have 4 questions for you.
Got
How do you know the difference between intuition and fear?
So intuition, typically you'll feel it inside, like for some kind of heightened state. Say like, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I can't tell if I'm having an anxiety attack or if it's intuition. So a lot of times your anxiety is going to increase your heart rate and it'll almost give you like a sick feeling. But your intuition is going to be felt a lot of times in your lower abdomen, and you'll notice like your heart rate's not going up because it's not like an adrenaline kick. It's your intuition being like, hey, pull the stops. And it shouldn't give you a sick feeling. You definitely might feel something in your abdomen, but it's not going to be like, I feel nauseous, I feel like I might throw up kind of feeling.
Okay. What's your favorite tool for tuning in on hard days?
Probably sun gazing. And it's not really a tool, I would think, but sun gazing is something that I definitely do when I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, there's too many things going on right now. Definitely sun gazing where, and if you don't know what that is, essentially you're meditating, but you're like looking at the sun. I know that sounds really scary for us people who don't want to go blind. But essentially what you're doing is during like sunrise or sunset, right when it's like right before it's super intense or like it leaves, um, goes on to the other side, it becomes night. You'll stare into the sun and it'll help your meditation. It refreshes your energy, kind of much more relaxed. Don't do it when it's too bright. Okay, you will go blind, and we don't want that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, that and maybe a Tibetan singing bowl because I love the sounds of those when I'm meditating.
What would you tell your past self at the start of your spiritual journey from where you're at now in your journey?
For me, I feel like probably the most detached I was probably in my teenage years because I was very tapped in and then I wasn't. So if I was to think about like what I would say to my teenage self, I would definitely say like the challenges that we've been facing, they're not for nothing. First of all, you'll see like it'll be very clear that the reason that we face challenges are so much because we're helping others navigate their own and we're able to relate to more. So don't be ashamed of that, and you're worthy of everything that you've wanted, and you don't need to question that anymore. If I could say that, I wish I could.
Don't we all, though?
Yes.
Um, do you have one affirmation for a mama who's ready to reclaim her path?
I would say I am a divine whole being whom is ready to embrace my power to the fullest and detach from anything holding me back from my enlightenment.
That's a really good one. I like that one. Amber, thank you so much for sharing your light, your practices, and your truth with us. To everyone listening, then may this episode be the permission slip you didn't know you needed to come back home to yourself. If your intuition has been whispering it's time, listen. If you've been afraid to leap, trust. If you felt unseen, you are never alone. If you can connect with Amber and explore her divine eye coaching through the links in my show notes. Until next time, bless your bones, soothe your spirit, and remember, you are still magic, especially when you trust yourself. See you in the moonlight.